The original Nutty Putty cave-like incident you have never heard of. When an explorer became trapped for 2 weeks, the entire incident became a spectacle, and the story only gets more bizarre as it goes on. Floyd Collins was born on July 20th, 1887 in Logan County, Kentucky. The Collins family farm was located not far from one of the world's longest cave systems, Mammoth Cave. Floyd was one of 8 children and found a love for exploring at the very young age of only 6. His first big discovery was on the Collins family farm, which was Donkey's Cave. By 1912, he was hired by a geologist to tour him around the cave systems of the area. Together, they discovered Dossie's Dome Cave and the Great Onyx Cave. In 1917, he discovered Great Crystal Cave and actually turned it into a tourist attraction the following year. By the 1920s, these expeditions turned into cave wars, with people wanting to profit from giving tours of the caves. When Crystal Cave was a financial flop for Floyd, he set his sights on Sand Cave. Discovered on the property of Besley Doyle, it was the perfect money-making cave. It was closer, and anyone heading to Mammoth Cave would have to pass right by it. They thought it would be a caving gold mine for tourism, and together they would expand it and split the profits. On January 25th of 1925, Floyd ventured into the narrow, dark passageways of Sand Cave. With him was nothing more than a single kerosene lamp. As the lamp began to flicker, panic set in and he quickly attempted to find the exit. As he squeezed through a tight passage, he accidentally dropped the lamp, and that is when everything went wrong. As he attempted to retrieve the lamp, a 27-pound boulder became dislodged and fell on his left leg, trapping him. A full day went by before Doyle's son realized that Floyd was still in the cave. The word quickly spread around the area, bringing in rescuers to help Floyd and those eager to see his rescue, with people even beyond the Kentucky border hearing about the incident, which was rare back in the 1920s. From miners to cavers, geologists, and engineers, they all tried but failed to rescue him. They were able to reach him, but they couldn't get him out. All while on the surface, it was reported some 50,000 people were crowded outside of the cave entrance. Some people even setting up as vendors trying to make a quick buck selling food and water. Among the crowd was a reporter, William Skeets Miller, nicknamed so for his mosquito-like stature. Although he couldn't save him, he was able to get close enough to Floyd to actually acquire some interviews that would later become Pulitzer Prize winning. On February 4th, a part of the ceiling of the cave had collapsed, cutting off all contact with Floyd. They believe he survived down there for around 14 days, with his body being completely unreachable for at least 17. By February 16th, all was quiet as rescuers made a new shaft and eventually discovered Floyd's lifeless body. A funeral service was held for him outside of the cave's entrance. Now, in his life, the Sand Cave wasn't turned into a success, but the story doesn't end there. After an agonizing 2 months, his body was finally recovered and buried on the Collins family farm. Now, in 1927, the farm and Crystal Cave were sold to Dr. Harry Thomas. He decided to exhume Floyd's corpse, place it in a glass-topped casket, and put it on display in the center of the cave. Next to the Morbid tourist attraction was a tombstone that read, "The greatest cave explorer ever known." Amazingly, it gets even more wild when on September 23rd of 1927, someone tried to steal his body out of the cave. Now, they failed to steal his body, but it wasn't the only time. In 1929, someone actually did steal his body. Using bloodhounds, authorities were quick to track down the thief. His body was found in a burlap sack near the banks of the Green River. But for some reason, his left leg, which was the one that was trapped during the incident, was now gone. Unfortunately, Floyd's leg was never found. Following that incident, his body was then kept in a secluded part of Crystal Cave in a chained-up casket. Now, when the National Park Service purchased the cave in 1961, they completely closed it off to the public. It wasn't until 1989 that Floyd Collins was given a proper burial. He was buried outside of the Mammoth Cave Baptist Church. It took 15 men in a total of 3 days to remove the casket and tombstone from the cave.